All right, guys, welcome to the channel. This is Crash and Flow BJJ. I'm Eddie. I'm gonna go over Gordon Ryan instructional tier list today. So, Gordon Ryan instructionals super expensive, right? Probably the most expensive ones on the market. I think he's charging like 350 or something like that for the new ones. So not easy to choose which one you want. Honestly, all of them are very good. You are learning from the best grappler in the world, right? And when you're learning from the best grappler in the world, you're going to get a lot of details in all of these different positions, but some of them obviously are better than others. I've watched all of them, and I've also implemented all of them into my game in different ways and different facets. So I'm going to go through this and rank it. If you guys aren't familiar with the tier list, S is the best. S is like, for me, that would be a must buy. You definitely want this one. A would be very good, but maybe not a must buy. B would be very solid. C would be a little bit less than that, and then D obviously are going to be reserved for his worst instructionals. And so I don't want you guys to waste your money on ones that you don't actually need or ones that I don't think are going to be that helpful. So I hope this helps you guys out. Let's get into it. So we'll just go from this entire board right here, and we're just going to go down the line. So this first one we have is upper body scrimmaging. So this is a new one that he released. I have been watching this one, and honestly, I think it's really good. I've already been implementing things out of it. And what I will say is that, especially if you're trying to learn to wrestle, I think that this one is one of the very best ones you can get because of the fact that it starts upper body and it doesn't involve anything leg attack related, which most people who are learning how to wrestle, they don't really want to do takedowns at the legs, right? Because we associate that with getting sprawled on, getting guillotined, getting front headlocked. Most people just don't even want to do that at all in jiu-jitsu. And he talks a lot about that and how he tailors his game to the fact that jiu-jitsu people stand up higher. You really need to be able to break the posture, like dilemma between shoulders and hips, and being able to start using hand fighting up top very intelligently to get the posture that you want out of your opponent. He goes over underhooks, overhooks, double overs, safely disengaging from all these different positions, which is super important, right? Because sometimes, like, we don't always have the time, maybe before a tournament or a competition, to implement everything and watch all the different positions. So I really appreciate that he put in ways to disengage from different positions, because when we can learn how to disengage, then we don't necessarily need to like play that position, right? We talk about this on the channel, but your offense, you can be very selective with it, right? Because you get to pick what kind of attacks you want to do on your opponent in a competition, but we always need to have a huge breadth of knowledge in defense, because defense is something that we don't necessarily get to pick, right? Maybe I hate defending armbars, and if my opponent is great at armbars, I'm putting myself at a disposition if I don't learn that, right? I'm putting myself at a disadvantage if I don't learn that. And so we really need to be able to like at least intelligently defend every position. It doesn't mean you need to be offensive everywhere, but you need to be able to intelligently disengage or defend. And for the feet, this is probably my favorite instructional I found, other than my guy Adam Miller over at Wrestling University. I use his stuff. He actually coaches me in wrestling, and he has been so tremendously helpful. And we'll hopefully get some content out about that soon as well. But yeah, so for upper body scrimmaging, I'm gonna move this actually to S tier. I really think it's that good. I'm not even completely done with like implementing all the things in it, but it has been amazing so far. I love it. Now let's talk about systematically attacking from half guard. I really like this one. I really like half guard personally, but I don't think I would quite put it in S tier. So just for a couple reasons, I think that it goes over half butterfly more than knee shield, which I think that makes sense because Gordon's game is more based off of butterfly guard, and it's so we can integrate those two things because you can have half guard and butterfly guard, and then you have half butterfly guard somewhere in between. He does go over all the different aspects, like he goes over knee shield, high knee shield, low knee shield, half butterfly, deep half, lockdown, or scorpion as they call it, all these different positions, and also chest to chest half guard. So I think that it was a really really good instructional, especially if you like playing half guard. But for me personally, I'd probably put it at A just because I felt like it was a little bit shorter on the knee shield portions, and I think I play knee shield a lot. I think a lot of people play knee shield a lot, so I think it would have been even better if you expanded on that a little more. And then it's also got a really great rolling section. You can really watch and see um, him use a lot of the moves that he does in the instructional on different opponents in the rolling section. So I think that that one is definitely a top tier one. I really liked it a lot. Now let's talk about pin escapes. So Pillars of Defense, that whole series he has, Pillars of Defense, this is the first one he did out of it, is very good. I really like the Pillars of Defense stuff. Gordon Ryan is basically, if you guys aren't super familiar with what his game is, he's very well known for having amazing defense, probably the best back attacks in the game, really good guard retention, and butterfly guard, and maybe half guard, and then obviously leg locks, right? Leg locks are another specialty. So it would be very surprising if the pin escape one wasn't good, and it definitely doesn't disappoint. I would definitely put this at S tier, just because I think it's across the board like so important for everybody to do this, because you need to know how to get out of every pin escape. And the great thing about this is he doesn't just go into pin escapes, but he goes into offensive cycles off the pin escape, which is great because this is something that he likes to drill into these videos a lot, is that like when we're playing defense and we're learning defense especially, we always want to associate our defensive maneuvers with a related and follow-up attack, right? So we always want to have options to move from defense to offense. We don't want to just defend, defend, defend. And this video is very well detailed, talks about a myriad of different defenses for basically every type of pin you could possibly imagine. Even very like nuanced, like strange pins that are not very common he talks about. And I really can't recommend this one enough. I think that whoever you are, whatever your game is, you have to have this instructional. I mean, if you got a different grappler you like watching more, that's fine. But and I know a lot of people don't like Gordon Ryan, and that's fine. But I will say, like, if you're really trying to be competitive, you got to watch Gordon Ryan. I think it's just dumb when people are like, I don't watch Gordon Ryan because I just can't stand him. I'm like, if I was learning boxing, I don't really like Floyd Mayweather personally. And he's even from my hometown, but I would fucking watch Floyd Mayweather because he's the best of all time, right? Or at least one of them. And just like Gordon. So, I mean, it's just kind of like immature in my opinion if you can't put aside personal differences to learn from one of the best in the game. So, anyway, defense, Pillars of Defense, pin escapes, definitely an S tier instructional for me from Gordon Ryan. And guys, a lot of these, like, they're all very good. I think there's a couple I'm a little iffy on, and I'll talk about those. But these are all going to kind of depend on what your game is and what you need at the time. So I will be a little biased towards some and not others, and I'll let you know if it's because it's my game. But I'll also let you know if I just think this is a blanket statement that like everybody should know this, and the pin escapes one is definitely one of those. So S tier for pin escapes for sure. Open guard. All right, we're going S tier again. So his open guard instructional, guys, is sick. It is one of the best instructionals I've ever seen. I'm not even necessarily a huge butterfly player. I do like playing butterfly, but it's just so good in terms of concept. Like I see a lot of these different instructionals that some of them are very like narrow, right? So you could have the armbar instructional or the kimura instructional. Those are just set on one specific submission set. But with the open guard instructional, it's very much like a broad one. So if you just want to learn how to play guard, I would start with this, and I would use the open guard seated position one, the seated one specifically, not supine. I would use the seated position one specifically to learn how to actually play guard and start getting the fundamentals of the concepts of like hand fighting. The hand fighting sections are amazing. Off balancing your opponent from space. Like when you have that position where your opponent has not made contact with you and you're sitting in guard, he does the best job I've ever seen of talking about managing that interaction where you're starting to like lead the dance as a guard player and be aggressive instead of just like allowing someone to come into you, which is something I talk about on my channel a lot too. We want to be aggressive guard players, and this is a really good instructional for that. And it also really teaches you about upper body grips. It really teaches you about how to grip fight, teaches you how to keep different locks like shoulder crunches, pinch headlocks, underhooks, under over position, all these different ones. Really, really good. And it also goes into a myriad of different submissions. So it goes into leg locks, it goes into arm bars, it goes into triangles. It really gives you a wide like buffet of things that you can look at and learn and like pick and choose from. And then it's super concept heavy as well about like the directionality of sweeping from bottom, and you'll just learn so much in this one. The foot fighting from like open guard where you're just seated and trying to like off balance your opponent, learning to off balance your opponent alone makes this one worth buying. I really think this is one of his best instructionals ever. It'll continue to be like that, I think, in the future. I still go back to it sometimes. So we'll move on. The Crucifix one. This one was interesting. I do really like it. I just think it's very like context dependent. If you like playing Crucifix, or if you are somebody who's always looking for the back, it can be a great addition to your game. I really think the systematically attacking the Crucifix one is very good, and it also has some like unorthodox stuff in it, with like mounting from Crucifix, right? So a lot of people think of like Crucifix where if I'm attacking, I'm on bottom, and my partner is like laying on me, like I'm almost like a pillow to them, right? But with this one, he also talks about using your legs to grapple in side control, and then kind of like enter Crucifix from top position, which is pretty cool. It does touch on similar things that he already did touch on in the side attacks one, the side control instructional. But I would say that this one is not necessarily one that you would just want to buy standalone without like watching the others. I think it takes a little bit. You probably want to be at a little bit more of an advanced level to start using it. And I think if you watch his other things first, it'll help a lot. So I really do like this one. It's cool. It has its place. I'm going to put it at B though. I don't think it's a S or an A tier instructional. It's very specific too. But if you like that shit, it's amazing. It's definitely the best Crucifix instruction I've ever seen. So I'm not knocking it at all. They shall not pass. Again, this is so this one, they shall not pass. This is a guard retention instructional. Really good one as well. This is like an encyclopedia. This one is like, if you have a specific issue where you keep getting passed, you want this instructional, right? This is like we talked about, you either kind of looking for instructionals like narrow scope. You either have like a very specific problem you're trying to address, or you have some like you just want to learn a new position entirely. So like open guard would be like you want to learn all about guard like entirely. That would be like a broad brushstroke instructional, and it's amazing for getting you started in that. Guard retention is like I almost wouldn't say you want to like learn guard retention right off the bat with this one, just because it's so detailed and specific about different passes. It is really, really good. It's just fucking dense, man. It is like 12 hours long. So you're definitely getting what you pay for. But I think most people will enjoy maybe like more concise versions of guard retention. Like Danaher's one is pretty good too. His new wave guard retention one, or developing an unpassable guard or something like that. That one is very good as well, and probably easier to digest. So I really do like this one. The other thing about it that I would say is not necessarily up to snuff with some of his other things is that he talks a lot about going from defensive to offensive cycles, but in this instructional, he shows great ways to negate the pass, but he doesn't really show like clear follow-ups into attacks off of the defenses as much in this one as he does in others. Like in the pin escape ones, he shows a ton of that. This one, I mean, maybe because the content was already so long, but a lot of times you're just kind of like back in neutral from the stuff he shows you, which is fine. Like you can learn that stuff on your own, but if you're looking to be spoon-fed like amazing attacks like right off of defense, this isn't the one. So I'm gonna put it at B probably for now. Still, I could almost put it at A, but I might say B for this. I think it's really, really good, super detailed, but there's just a couple gripes I have with it. And also some of the stuff is a little bit outdated now. Like the high legging over for guard passes. A lot of people do reverse scoop grip passes. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, watch Dorian Oliveira's. He does that shit all the time. Super fast, left to right around the body. And now high leg passing is like a little bit disadvantageous to do, and he's still like that's in the DVD. So some things you might learn in there are not necessarily current anymore. Um, Systematically attacking the legs. This is an amazing instructional. He is probably the best leg locker in the world. Um, I mean, there's other guys who are very close to his level, but he is amazing. I gotta go S tier on this one. I've learned so much from this instructional. It is so intricate, and you will learn so much like game theory concept behind hiding your feet as well as exposing your opponents and like the ability to counterattack. It'll work your defense and your counterattack simultaneously. Um, and also like the breaking mechanics sections are just so detailed and precise that your percentages for breaking and getting taps in the gym will go up exponentially. I can guarantee it. What it doesn't do is go over entries and things like that. So if you're looking for like how to get into the legs and get more looks at leg locks, this is not for you. This is more about like you already know how to get into leg locks and you want to learn how to finish them and transition between leg locks and how they all connect. This is like a Bible for leg locking. I really like this one a lot. This one's amazing. I would 100% recommend anyone buy this one if you want to learn leg locks. So let's talk about attacking triangles. So attacking triangles, I really liked it. I am biased though. I am a triangle guy. I really love triangles. I like back takes probably first, back rear naked, leg locks, triangles, probably my top ones. And then also I really like guillotine and kimura might be like tied for fourth, I guess. I'm not really a huge armbar guy. But I love triangles, and this is a really good one. He's got a lot of like interesting, innovative triangle stuff, which I hadn't seen before, like the Ryan roll, which he claims he invented. It's pretty useful. It's very good at like telling you how to finish a triangle when you're kind of like stuck in the troubleshooting zone where you have guys who are like either really wide shouldered or just like defend really well. And this is actually really going to help your triangle finishing percentage. It's got really interesting entries too and how to combine them with things like guillotines or guard passing. So I would definitely put it up there. I don't know if I would say S. I don't know if you necessarily like need this instructional, but I would put it at A because for what it is so good. I really love the triangle one. I've watched Danaher's as well, and his is very good. I think I like this even more. So they both have their pluses and minuses, but I really like the Gordon triangle DVD. Okay. So now let's do pillars of defense, another pillars of defense one, leg lock escapes and counter locks. This one also amazing. It's just the flip side of the systematically attacking the legs. If you want to be a leg locker, you got to watch both of these because one, it's the offensive one is obviously extremely valuable because of the fact that you learn all the breaking mechanics, transitions to different leg locks, what the pros and cons are of each leg locking position and all that stuff. Amazing instructional. And then this one is also amazing because it just talks about the other side of the coin, right? The weaknesses of the Ashiguramis, the way that you can exploit the transitions, ways that there's weaknesses in the offensive cycles. There's also a lot of really good offense that comes out of it through the counter locking, like figure four toe holds or corkscrew ankle locks, Aoki locks. If you guys are like new to leg locking or want to learn, you got to understand that like leg locking is like walking out in a street and you and your opponent are just shooting pistols at each other. You're just out there in a gunfight. Anybody can get hit at any time. It does not matter how skilled you are. You need to know the ins and outs of everything. You can always get hit. You know, it's like a war zone. Even a Green Beret gets one-shotted, right? They can get killed in battle. It's not like anyone's invincible. It's just like that with legs. Anytime you're attacking legs, you can be attacked. So I really like this one. This is definitely one of my very favorite defensive DVDs he's ever done. I've learned a ton about it, and I still go back and watch it all the time as I'm like continuously perfecting my craft with the leg locks. All right, I'm gonna jump around because a couple of them I don't want to like just do. They're a little bit ordered funny. So let's do the scrimmage. So this is systematically attacking the scrimmage. This was the first wrestling one he put out. I was pretty excited for this because I feel like we have a similar game in terms of like he doesn't do a lot of leg attacks and I don't necessarily. I do them more now, but when this came out I wasn't. And so I watched this one. To be honest, I was kind of disappointed in this one. It was pretty short and I didn't really feel like I learned anything that I hadn't been told like in a basic wrestling class before. I really just there maybe a little bit of theory about like why we would hand fight in jiu-jitsu because the time of the matches is longer, but a lot of this stuff I've just heard like in different YouTube videos on like the meta of wrestling for jiu-jitsu, and I really just didn't feel like I learned much new content in this. The rolling footage was okay, but some of his training partners are pretty small. Not really a fan of this DVD. I wouldn't buy it. You're gonna be able to learn the same thing for a lot cheaper from like anything on Fanatic Wrestling or just like watching YouTube. I mean, it's really just kind of shallow. It's probably good. Like if you don't wrestle ever or you've never wrestled at all, you'll definitely learn the basics from this. I mean, if you want to get your feet wet, then yeah, this might be the instructional for you. Actually, I'm gonna put this at C. I don't want to say it's D because it's not like insultingly bad, but it's just not anything crazy like his other ones. It's really not. So I wouldn't really recommend this one, but if you want to learn and you want to do it before you go to upper body scrimmage, then maybe it'd be good for you. But honestly, I think you could just go to the upper body takedowns one. It's like the correct way to learn anyway. You're not like starting with the legs. So I don't think there's any issue with skipping this one entirely. All right. Let's do attacking from close guard. Attacking from close guard, pretty interesting. He's really not known for his close guard, and the Danaher crew is not really known for like outside guard play at all. Like they don't do K guard very much. They don't do close guard very much. I mean, they teach content on it, but like a lot of their stuff, they talk about inside position. So like if you learn that open guard seated position instructional, if you learn from that, you're gonna learn a ton about inside entries to leg locks. But with the close guard one, you'll learn more about outside entries. It is interesting for the off balances. I think that can be important because sometimes you watch close guard instructionals and they can kind of be like overly simplified about the fact that like it's very easy for someone in the top to kind of stall and just like tense up and not allow you to do anything, right? So he does go over like off balancing, and I think that's super valuable. You'll also learn a lot about like climbing the back and bottom submissions like arm bars and how to finish and like roll an opponent back to bottom. So I think it is good. He apparently made this one because he started working close guard more when he like tore his ACL or something. And so that's the only thing he could do really in the gym. And so he got pretty good at it over like a year stretch or something like that. Still a good DVD. I would put it at probably B. I mean, it's definitely like if you really want to learn close guard, it's definitely one to check out. I'm just not like blown away by it like some of the other ones. So let's talk about systematically attacking the guard. So his first guard passing instructional, guys, this one was really interesting. It's kind of like I almost think of it as like the guard retention one. Like it's very encyclopedic style. Like there's a ton of different like scenarios he goes over, but I found this one hard to follow, and I never find instructionals hard to follow. I found it pretty difficult to follow until like later on. So he says that this is like basic passing, but in a lot of ways I don't really feel like it is. He said that, his systematically attacking the guard 2.0 is really advanced versus this one, but I found the 2.0 way easier to learn than this one. This one is very like detailed step by step, but very nuanced positions, and it's laid out in kind of a weird format where it like circles back as you've kind of learned the basics, and then you come back again, and it sounds good, but I don't know, something about the flow of the instructional is like not as good as other ones, and I think it's good, but I don't think it should be the first passing one you learn. It's marketed that way though. It's kind of marketed as the best one to learn first, but I think that if you are more advanced, then you'll actually find like a lot of different stuff to pick from in here. Um, and it can teach you a lot. Like I did learn a lot about float passing from this one, and I got good at float passing off of it, but there's still like, a lot of things that I go back and look at occasionally, and I do appreciate it more now being a more advanced grappler, but when I was first had this one, it was like a long time ago, and I found it very difficult to follow. So I would say it's good, but I would put it at B. Mm, I might, yeah, I'm gonna put it. It's gonna be between B and C. I probably put B. It's definitely great to buy if you want to learn passing, but just beware, it is not the easiest one to follow. Um, so let's talk about uh, defense, leg locks to guard passing. So this is another pillars of defense one. Um, this one is really was not my favorite either. I didn't like this one that much. A lot of like, if you watch John and if you watch like the other passing instructions, you're gonna see a lot of the same stuff. It's mostly just like pulling your legs out from entanglements and then moving straight into a guard pass, like the title says. But a lot of them are not necessarily realistic for me. So what I mean by that is like some of them really rely on the fact that like your opponent would be always looking for a heel hook, right? And so if they're looking for a heel hook, it can be easy to just pull your leg out of the lock and then start moving into body locks and things like that. And in certain situations, it's pretty valuable. But a lot of times in the gym, like so many people favor the Achilles grip as soon as they enter an Ashigarami now. And that is not easy to pull your leg out. So like so much of it, I just feel like I can't really use. I don't like turning away from the lock if they have an Achilles grip because it kind of puts more pressure on my foot instead of booting. And so I just felt like this one, I've seen a lot of it. It was pretty sparse, like not nearly as dense of content as other ones. And I just don't feel like it applies in a ton of scenarios, especially maybe when you're a pro and everybody's just trying to heel hook, then like I guess it would be good. I'm probably going to put it at C though. It's better than scrimmage wrestling, so I would put it as a higher C than that, but it's very specific and it's also not super dense. It doesn't have a ton in it from what I remember, so I would put this one around a C. Okay, so let's go over the attacking the front headlock. This one's interesting. On the one hand, I do like it because I do feel like it's helpful for going over the basics of like controlling a front headlock. So if you're a guy that's like been playing guard for a long time and you want to start wrestling or coming up to top and like for learning guillotines and things, this one can be helpful in a way because you're going to learn how to like control the position to be able to use the guillotines more. But it is not going to teach you about guillotines really. You're not going to really learn much about guillotines in this. So I just want you guys to be aware that this is not the guillotine instructional. This is just front headlock. You will be able to like learn how to control kind of in a wrestling style a front headlock and do go behinds and things. And so it does have its place. It is valuable, but I feel like it's kind of incomplete. It's almost like I don't really know why he made them separate, other than I don't know if he's just trying to make more money off these. But I don't really recommend the front headlock one compared to the guillotine one. So I'm probably going to put it at C. It's better than the scrimmage wrestling one, but it's nothing that's going to blow you away necessarily like the other ones. Okay, so now let's go over, let's talk about, let's do a funny one. Getting swole as a grappler, D, obviously. Don't buy this. I like Gordon, but I mean, this is definitely just like a money grab. I don't think that Gordon knows much more about working out than anyone else. He's on a shit ton of gear. Anybody that works out consistently, he works out consistently. He's probably got some like decent meal plans in there, but that's all stuff you can find for free on the internet. I'm not going to learn bodybuilding from the best grappler in the world. I want to learn grappling. So if you got money to spend, do not spend it on that one. It's just kind of funny. I like laugh when I see that. I think that was his first instructional. So, I mean, you got to cut the guy a break, I guess, but I wouldn't buy that one. It's not necessary at all. Another interesting one is Sport of Kings. So Sport of Kings is the mindset one. I did buy that. The only one I didn't buy, guys, just to clarify, was the grappler one, the getting swole as a grappler. I'm like, why would I even buy that? So I haven't watched it, but just looking at the contents from the preview and all that, I just don't see the point. So Sport of Kings, though, this one is interesting. I think a lot of people will write this one off, but I actually think it's pretty interesting. Um, I would probably put it at C. If you're really interested in the sports psychology, he has some good like pieces of information in terms of like how he thinks, because that is something that's special about him. He does compete really, really well. And so he does have like certain philosophies on competing, and I think some of it is interesting. And, for like the long view of your jiu-jitsu journey, you will learn like if you really want to be great, I mean, this is a good person to talk to. He's a guy that, has done amazing things, and you can kind of like see the mindset behind that. And I thought it was pretty good. I mean, get it on sale, don't spend a lot on it, but it's definitely worth a watch, especially if you want to be a competitive athlete. I think it's pretty interesting. Like he talks about, sections on like what he thinks about before tournaments, how he likes to warm up, what he does like the night before, how he tries to like time his sleeping, and then also like how he goes to talk about how mental work is like should be emphasized over physical work and stuff like that. So it can be really good for somebody looking to compete professionally or just intensely as a hobbyist or something. So I do like it. I'll put it at C. It's not like teaching you anything grappling wise, but it's still decently valuable. It's at least as valuable as the scrimmage wrestling one. So let's talk about strangle escapes. Pillars of defense, strangle escapes. This one is really good. I really like this one a lot. It is, again, super dense, goes over everything. I'm going to put it at A. I might almost put it at S just because I'm not going to put it at S because so many of the defensive ones would be up there. But I mean, if you're having any kind of problem with strangles, like triangles, he doesn't go over rear nakeds in this one. So that's not going to be in it. But this is about triangles, guillotines, anacondas, darces, all that stuff. Very good stuff. I really, really liked it a lot. He's also pretty honest. Like, he's not going to lie to you and tell you things he doesn't know. Like, some of the positions that are really hard to get out of, he's like, yeah, you just basically need to avoid this one, and because there really isn't much you can do about it. I've tried to troubleshoot this, and we just, like, have no solution. So some of those things are, it's interesting to see somebody that high level kind of admit that, right? So this one is really, really good. I use a ton of escapes out of this. I basically have like a 4-step system to get out of pretty much all triangles I put in anymore, and it's out of this one. So I really found this one super valuable. Let's talk about body lock. We'll talk about passing the guard, body lock. This one is really good. I do like it a lot. This was actually the first like passing instructional of his that I really like clung onto and used a ton. But I will say that it's kind of separated into two different parts, right? It's low body locking and then high hips body locking. And the high hips body locking, I'll say I never really quite had success with it. I don't know if the way that he like described the distribution of weight was just not really like clear enough for me. I don't usually have any problem understanding these, but it just never really worked out for me, and I tried it a lot, so I don't know if that's like the greatest information. I don't see anyone else doing it either, and I don't really ever see him do it, so I don't know if it works that well. But the traditional body locking and all of the side body locks and all the follow-ups that come off the body lock is really good. The entries to the body locks are really good. You will really learn how to classically body lock in this. If you want to do like high hip stuff, I would recommend like Joseph Chen inside tripod inside passing or something like that over this one. But this one's really good. The rolling footage is really good. I really liked it a lot. I'd probably put it at I'll put it at B. Body locking is not going to be everybody's favorite, but I think as far as like if you want to learn body locking, definitely get that. It is super detailed and it's really well thought out. I'm going to try to keep S and A more like either it has to be mind blowing or more blanket, like specific to you guys. Like pretty much everybody needs to learn it. The back. Let's talk about the back instructional. This one is money. This one I gotta put it in S. This dude is so fucking detailed at the back. He is so good at the back. Like, I watched this and studied it so much, and like, guys do not get out of my back control anymore. They just don't. I'm so confident in my back control and my ability to finish from the back that like I just feel like anybody I get on the back, I will finish them. I've just studied this and used it and implemented all of it basically for so long that I just don't feel like there's really any escapes people can do to me, other than like pure opportunistic, like we're super fucking sweaty and they explode somewhere, and I just was like kind of sleeping at the wheel or something like that. But even something like that happening, I feel like this is so good. It goes over everything. It goes over crossbody rides or truck entries. It goes over auxiliary attacks like triangles and armbars and kimuras and things off the back, as well as like general maintenance. The general maintenance and the hand fighting is just so detailed and so good. You really need this one. Like, it's the best position in the sport. It's the highest percentage submission in the sport. It should be your number one focus. Like, if you don't have a submission class picked out yet, unless you just want to do what you think is fun, like, I'm going to always tell people get the back, and I'm going to tell people to watch this instructional. It is that good. The only thing about it that is not in it is like some of the more new meta with like double strangle arms. That's not really, I don't think that's in it, but this is released quite a while ago now, I think. So, you can watch that other stuff in the new Danaher one. Now let's talk about turtle position. I'm also going to put the turtle position one on S. Like, I really feel like you need to get this one. The turtle position one is so good. And again, it goes hand in hand with back. If you want to be good at the back, which you should because it's the most important position in the sport, you need to be good at breaking the turtle open and all the attacks from turtle. He really makes this one like easy to understand too, because he lineates between like closed turtle and open turtle. And then he also shows like counters to counters. So it is really, really detailed, and it's great when you watch this because even a little bit of this one goes a long way. Like, most people are terrible at defending turtle, and if you watch this, you're gonna have a leg up on so many people. I highly recommend this one. I feel like everybody needs to watch it. That is one of my favorite ones of his, definitely. Let's talk about mount. The mount one, I'm gonna probably put it at A. The mount one is really good. The mount one is super detailed. I would almost put it at S tier, but I'm gonna say that like mount and back kind of go hand in hand as the two most important positions in the sport. But a lot of people don't like playing mount. If you watch this, you will like playing mount because you will know how to play it well. And you'll know how to like actually maintain it. And that's really the problem people have with mount, is they don't know how to maintain it. And this is like the most comprehensive maintenance section of mount ever shown. I love it. It is really, that's another one I feel like not as confident as my back skills, but like my mount skills, I just feel like people are not going to get out of my mount. And it's because I've watched this and studied it and implemented it, and it works really well. But the only thing about it is the second half of it is not as like exciting if you've seen some of his other work, because it's just kind of like rehashing a lot of the positions, like a figure four back head and arm, and then a seated figure four back head and arm, to like triangles like Ushiro Senkaku or like rear triangle, arm bars, things like that. So it's not like necessarily new information when you get to that part, but if you don't know any of that yet, this is a great instructional. That's the only reason I put it at A. And plus, like, some people don't use mount as much, but it is a great instructional. I really like it a lot. Kimura. So Kimura, really pretty cool. I think it's if you like Kimuras, it's pretty detailed. There's a lot of really interesting entries and like nuance to how you like do rolling Kimura entries and like hook the arm so that they can't like elbow fight you and dip the elbow and like try to reverse Kimuras, because you can counter Kimuras by like basically reversing them in a lot of positions. So you will learn a lot about the intricacies of Kimuras. That being said, it is obviously a more specified instructional. If you want to learn kimuras, then it's, definitely one of the ones you want to watch. Um, but it's not as, I don't think everybody needs to watch this one. I think if you really want to get good at kimuras, definitely watch it. And I think that the kimura is like itself a very important submission. So maybe I'll actually put it. It's gonna be either A or B. Um, I might put it at A, or yeah, I'm probably gonna put it at B because some of the other submission systems I think are a little bit more important, or he's better at those ones. Um, Kimura, kind of the joker in the pack. They can lead to so many things. They're all a submission and a ride, so it's kind of hard to say between A and B, but definitely really good. It's a little bit shorter. Yeah, maybe I'll put it at B because it is a little bit shorter than some of the other submission ones, but it's good. I like it a lot. I would buy it. I mean, if I were you, I'd buy it. Let's talk about one of his my evolution, your revolution, or whatever. These are basically just ADCC match breakdowns. They're pretty good. I think it's it's kind of like it's interesting to learn how to break down your own matches. So I think it can be useful in that manner. Um, and it does show you like the real ebb and flow of a match instead of like static learning techniques. And so the specific techniques he uses, you will actually gain a lot of insight into them. Like in this one, he talks about using basically a far side arm drag from a half butterfly guard against Heike Jusela, and how he fakes at the legs to get the arm to come forward, and then that like honestly helped my setups a lot. So I do feel like this is pretty useful. I just don't know if it would definitely wouldn't be my first priority to buy these. You definitely want to watch his grappling instructionals, the pure grappling instructionals first, but these are cool. I do like them. They're better than the working out one, and they're probably better than Sport of Kings, but just different goals. So if you're like a fan, I am a fan of the guy. I like watching this stuff, so it's definitely worth watching. But I'm not gonna put it any higher than like low C. Um, so again, I would put all of these, my revolution, your revolution ones here. I think they're gonna get they're going to. Nah, I don't really have much to say about the difference between the three, but I'm gonna put them all in C. They're not quite at D where I'm like don't buy it, but I don't regret buying them, but I would definitely wait until they're on sale, or you have like a bunch of points, or some kind of coupon or some shit like that. So let's talk about the armbar one. The armbar one is really good. If you want to learn arm bars, I feel like it's super helpful because you actually learn like how fucking complicated arm bars are. They're like the leg locks of upper body submissions, in my opinion. There's so many different transitions and setups, and like issues with movement and having to stop different counters from your partner. Um, if you struggle with arm bars, this is definitely one you want to watch. That being said, I don't feel like everybody needs to watch this one. Um, it's not a position. It's not the best submission class in my opinion. Any submission class can be the best submission class based on the guy, but it's not like a triangle, right? Like a triangle, you control the head, so you have a strangle, and you also have an armbar, so you have a break. So you have a strangle and a break, and the control of the head is makes the triangle stronger as a submission than an armbar is, in my opinion. And so this is a really good instructional. But I'm gonna put it somewhere in the solid B area, just because I don't feel like you have to necessarily buy this one. It's it's good. I don't regret the purchase, but it's and I definitely enjoyed watching it, and it is super complicated, but um, not like my favorite one of all time. So now let's talk about defense, leg locks, pillars of defense, leg locks to back takes. This one's cool. I think it's better than the guard passing one because I would rather take someone's back than cast their guard from a leg lock. Obviously, that's context dependent, but I do find it more useful. That being said, it's not really much new. Like usually he shows some pretty innovative stuff that either him or Danaher had in the works, and like nobody's been really privy to for a long time or ever. And this one I just didn't really see anything new. A lot of it I'd seen before, and it's pretty short, so I definitely would put this one like very close to the bottom of the list. I'm gonna put it above the scrimmage wrestling one, and probably above the guard passing one, leg locks to guard passing, but I wouldn't put it any higher. Um, I'd say probably around there. Again, don't regret the purchase, but um, it's okay. Uh, so these two are copies. I accidentally uploaded those. Let's talk about the systematically attacking from top pins. This is side control. I actually like this one a ton. I probably put it at A. It really teaches you about holding somebody down, as well as I've gotten some of my best submission sequences from this, like Yoko Senkaku's Kimura dilemmas, power Kimuras, legs Kimuras, arm bars, how to control somebody and actually enter into submissions from north south, and as well as this introduced the idea of grappling with my legs from the top in a pin. So this one I have a lot to credit. I can credit this one with a lot of success for me, and I would definitely recommend anybody watch this one. It's honestly more interesting, I think, than the mount one. The mount one is amazing for like the first 2 volumes or maybe 3, and if you have a trouble with katagatami or head and arm triangles, it's a great one. But after that, it kind of dips off in interest for me. But this one was pretty interesting the entire way through, so I would definitely put it at A, and I might even... No, I'll put it right behind mount, just because mount is technically probably a stronger position than side control, but in terms of like new novel content, I would say systematically attacking from side control is more interesting. Now let's talk about half guard passing. Half guard passing is a bitch. Half guard passing, not only have I seen this, but one of my buddies is also in the gym. He uses it, and it is hard to deal with. I feel like it's really, really good. It's a really good passing system. Super detailed again. And it's a passing system that really teaches you to like drain an opponent, and make them feel like they're pinned in their own guard. So I think this one's really good. I'd probably even put it above the body lock study. And the other thing why I would put this in A tier is because I think almost, like it's such a big meta now to pass from half guard. So if you want to know how to do that, this is one of the very best guys to learn it from. And I would really highly recommend this one. So I'm going to put this one in A. I don't have my A's necessarily ordered here, but I might even put it like high A, No, that's probably in the right spot. Maybe up above side control. So now we've got pillars of defense, upper body, joint lock escapes. Really good. I really like this one too. I'm probably going to put it in A, honestly, just because you kind of need to know these things. The armbar defense one is super, super detailed. I might put it at B because I almost feel like it's detailed to the point where it can be hard for people to follow. But it is, if you don't have trouble like comprehending these things, then like you'll be fine. But if you feel like you struggle to follow along with some instructionals, I would say you might struggle with this one with like how nuanced it is with the arm bars. But it has great details. Like you will learn how to escape arm bars very well. And you'll look at arm bars in a much more critical and like detailed manner, like you would look at leg locks, right? Like how you would notice like all the intricacies of like the position and where you can go. And he really does a good job of teaching that. So I like it a lot. But I'm probably gonna I'll put it at B because I don't think it was as good as the strangle escapes one. And if I'm just gonna say all defense is important, then they'll all be an S and A. And honestly, I would almost say that, but I'll try to make this more interesting for you guys and really like make a difference between them. So the guard passing philosophy 2.0, attacking the guard 2.0, I would put this one at A. I think this one is really good, especially if you want to learn outside passing. If you want to learn outside passing, it's super helpful. And it gets like Gordon is not a guy who moves well, and he'll tell you that. Like he talks about that a lot. He's not a guy that moves well, but he has little tricks with the footwork that'll make even like a clumsy person look really smooth. And I think that that's pretty cool that he's able to teach like that and successfully get people that are not as athletic to be able to look athletic in that way. Um, and then also he ties the two systems together. So this basically talks about Toriando, which would be hip and knee post passing, as well as high step passing, and those two go really well hand in hand. So in comparison to the first guard passing one he released, this is way better and way easier to understand, and the rolling footage is really good too. So I would say this one is probably an A. I really liked it. Now open guard supine. Open guard supine I would put at like a high B. Probably. It's really good if you want to understand. Leg lock entries will also come from the seated guard one, but you can also learn leg lock entries and some of the different like variants of entanglements, like reverse De La Hiva, De La Hiva. He has some interesting setups from those. He doesn't seem to use them a lot in competition, so it's a little bit more iffy, but it's still really good technique, I think. And you'll learn a lot of theory about like moving your opponent backwards and forwards from an entanglement. So I really like it a lot. I don't know if I would put it in A tier. Like, you need to watch this one to learn those things, because there's other guys who can teach you a lot of this stuff as well. But he does have a really good guard, and I might put this at A tier, honestly. The rolling footage is really good. The rolling footage, I forgot, is amazing. You will watch this guy make people stumble, fall, just get knocked down over and over and over. It's incredible. The rolling footage is about as good as the rolling footage in the open guard seated, and that one's amazing too. So I'll put this one at a low A. Now we just have two more. Defense, turtle, and front headlock escapes. I'm putting this one in S. I have watched the shit out of this one. I really liked it. One of my very first matches I ever had was with a local black belt who has a really nasty guillotine. I tried to knee bar him, and he got into a guillotine and finished me. And it was a close match, but after that, I just had like a chip on my shoulder. I'm like, I'm not getting fucking guillotined ever again. And I'm going to learn how to get out of all of them. And so I was like, this one will probably be a good one to buy. And I was not disappointed at all. This one taught me how to stand up. This one taught me how to shoulder roll. This one taught me how to maki komi roll. This one taught me how to hand fight from the front. Like, the hand fighting just from the front in a guillotine, or in just the front headlock position, was so good. And I just counter people out of front headlock all the time now. And furthermore, like, you got to learn this. It goes hand in hand with the turtle position one, because like the back and being able to defend your own back being taken from a turtle position, especially in tournaments like ADCC, where it's more incentivized to like wrestle up and not give up a guard pass. This is just such a good instructional. Like, I still watch it a lot. I've watched like all of it several times over, so I really, really like this one. And then, hate to keep like pounding the S tier, but this one is amazing as well. I would say this one is a must buy. The back escapes. The back escapes one obviously goes hand in hand with his back offense one. The back offense one I would say to buy first, but the back escapes one is amazing as well. You obviously need to be able to defend from the back intelligently. The only gripe I would say about the back escapes one is that it's so good that like you will only need to use like half of it. Like, people just are not good enough to keep up with the escapes out of this instructional. Like, I've met so few people that are good enough to like handle like just the first like 2 volumes of the escapes out of the back escapes DVD. It's just hasn't really happened. So it's really interesting. It's super intricate and detailed, and he will tell you the ifs and the ins and outs of every position. And there's some like really slick shit in there. I love it. I still go back and watch it, but like the problem is that like some of it I just don't even get to use, because like nobody's advanced enough to even do those things to me, where I would need to use some of the techniques he shows. So that's the only thing I would say about it, but it is an S tier instructional. I would 100% say you should buy that one, and I watch it all the time. So that is it, guys. Let's see. We got anything we need to switch? We got S tier, upper body scrimmage, systematically attacking the scrimmage, upper body takedowns. Pillars of defense, pin escapes. Yep. Open guard seated position. Yep. I'd probably put open guard seated, systematically attacking the legs, the back. They could be switched. And pillars of defense, pin escape. Pin escapes might be number one. Like, it's going to apply to literally everybody. Defense. Learn offense with legs before you learn defense, guys. The back. I don't know. These are all just so tight. It's not even worth switching them around. Really, really good. So we got pillars of defense, pin escapes, open guard seated position. This is S tier. Attacking the legs, the back, offense, defense, leg lock escapes and counter locks. Systematically attacking the scrimmage, upper body takedowns. Turtle position, systematically attacking the turtle. Pillars of defense, turtle in front, headlock escapes, and pillars of defense, back escapes. Those are the best ones. 100% would tell you to buy them. You will not be disappointed with any of those. And it'll be useful to basically anybody and everybody. Then A tier, these are a little bit more specific, but I still think they're like at the top of the class. Systematically attacking from half guard, systematically attacking triangles, pillars of defense, strangle escapes, systematically attacking from top pins mount, systematically attacking the guard, half guard passing, side control, guard 2.0, and open guard supine position. Then B, these ones are still really good, but a little bit, I might have a little bit issue, one or two issues with them, and they might be a little bit more specific or not as applicable to everybody. The Crucifix, we have guard retention. Guard retention could be an A. I feel like there's too many A's. Attacking from closed guard. Attacking the guard part 1. Systematically attacking the guard body lock study. Systematically attacking the kimura. Systematically attacking armbar. Pillars of defense, upper body, joint lock escapes. C, these ones are, I'm not disparaging anybody from buying these, and I don't regret it, but like, they're okay. They're not my favorite ones. So, our pillars of defense, leg locks to guard passing, leg locks to back takes, upper body scrimmage, or sorry, not upper body scrimmage. This is just the regular like beginner's guide to scrimmaging. Upper body scrimmage one is S tier, amazing. This one is fine. It's not much. Attacking the front headlock, better than all the other ones in this category. Sport of Kings, I would actually put it second. I thought it was really interesting. I did like it a lot. A lot of people are going to look over that one, but I think it's cool. My Revolution, Your Revolution, I put those all last just because they're basically just match breakdowns. And then D is definitely Swole as a grappler. Don't like that. That's just a money grab. So that's the list. Let me know in the comments if you got any questions. Let me know if you got any. What do you guys think? I mean, have you guys watched any of these? Do you think any of them are S tier? If you guys have any questions about which ones I liked or for what thing you're trying to study, let me know. Like I said, I've watched all these. I have this channel so that like I watch instructionals and I synthesize these things and then like teach you guys, and I watch these things so you guys don't have to. I know that they're like half of them are 8 hours plus, right? So I don't expect everybody to watch all of them or buy all of them. They're expensive. So just depends on where your priorities are and all that. But let me know what you think. You hate Gordon Ryan, love Gordon Ryan, hate his instructionals, love his instructionals. Ask me my thoughts on any of them, and let me know. Thanks, guys.